Hey there, and you're welcome back to The Simple Creative. I'm your host, Oladimeji Ajegbile, and this is a podcast for those brave enough to start up something from nothing. My guest on this episode is Alma Asinobi. She's a blogger and storyteller with a unique approach to teaching individuals and brands how to tell stories that people want to hear. We talk about starting out as a creative, going all out even in the face of oppositions, and how to improve what you started through telling compelling stories.
And I define a story as a string of narrated thought that shows cause and effect. So I implement that in my blogging, in my whatever thing I'm putting out, as a creative, I put that out. So I'm showing you, this is where I get stuff from, or this is how I style it. In the resultant, that effect is that this is what I will look, this is the outfit I have on, I got this piece from here, and then, or you randomly just take your followers through like maybe a day in your life or something, let them just feel connected, let them feel like they belong to a community.
If you're new to this podcast, I welcome you specially, and I really hope that you enjoy this episode. So let's get to the podcast. So let me start with a couple of appreciations. So I've noticed over time that you've been a really amazing supporter and listener of the Simple Creative podcast, and that's really interesting. So thank you so much for everything you've been doing in the past. And finally, I'm glad I actually now on the podcast. And just to start, I know you already, not so well anyway, but
exactly.
A couple of persons don't know you. So can you introduce yourself to everybody?
Okay. So my name is Alma Asinobi. On some days, I'm a brand storyteller, which is like a fancy way of saying that I have mastered the art of talking in ways that people want to listen to, and I teach brands to do the same.
Okay.
On some other days, I inspire people to live their champagne lifestyle on a Zobo budget. Start with what you have and where you are. So the first thing about that would be lifestyle blogger. So I'm a lifestyle blogger and a brand storyteller.
All right, that's actually really interesting. You mentioned, being able to help people start with whatever it is they have and where they are. So for you, how did you start? What made you start what you're doing? What was the process? What was the story?
Okay. My story is not like the fancy stories we hear, like all the inspirational stories. I always used to write. So I used to write poems, I used to write short stories while I was younger, and with the kind of background that I have, my father was very serious. Like, he was very, very keen on our English, our vocabulary, the way we wrote, spelling, and all of that. So I picked interest in all of it, and that's where the whole writing thing started. So I started writing, and at that early age, like, I was learning a lot of big words and all of those things. So they came in handy when I developed the interest in writing. I was like back in secondary school, and so over time it evolved, and I started a blog when I got to the university. That was in 100 level. But then my roommates, I remember my roommate said, my roommate don't tell in like KG. And I was like, what?
Wow.
I was like, what?
Such a reference.
And that was it. I didn't blog, I didn't do anything on the blog. I shut it down. That was in 2015. And I didn't do anything on that blog till 2018 when I decided that, nobody's going to tell me what to do or how to go about it. I'm just going to do this. But 2017, I started writing on Medium. But I felt like everybody, I felt this sort of pressure to make sense. Like, everybody's writing about global warming and, serious things. And I just feel like I want to write about how it is. So it's just, do you know that you can't, some avocados are green even when they're ripe? Why? Why is it so confusing? But anyway, I learned about things that are very, very fickle, but everybody was trying to make sense. So I decided to go back to my blog. I had forgotten I had a blog. Once I tried to create the domain name, and it was like, it already exists. I'm like, whoa, okay. So I checked, and it was there. And, I just started. And that was in late 2019. And I have grown significantly between then and now. And I think that growth is what, people see, and they just want to find out how do you do it, what do you do.
Okay.
And yeah, so I decided to teach because I just love to share information, knowledge. I just love to carry everyone along. So yeah, I started to teach, and I started the story school in May.
Wow.
I started the story school, and we've had 3 successful cohorts.
Interesting.
Okay, we've had 2.
Okay.
Yeah, the 3rd cohort is coming up in a few weeks. So
I think one of the major questions we hear a lot is, how did you start? How did you do it? Which is, well, in its own, the question is amazing. It's okay. It's good. But then every time someone asks you that kind of question, and then you tell them something like consistency, putting the work and all these things, you kind of go crazy. Like, so what have I been doing?
Yeah.
Haven't I been consistent in what I'm doing? So I've been in positions where I'll probably ask someone who has done something I'm looking up to, and I ask the person, how did you do it? Or what did you do? And then the person tells me, just work hard, dedicate your time and your life to it. And I'm like, so what have I been doing in the past?
I joke to you.
Yeah, exactly. But looking from your own experience now, how's this thing been? People coming to you to ask you questions like, oh, wow, you're doing amazing on Instagram. Oh, your blog is amazing. This is amazing. How do you respond to them? With the mindset that, you also probably experienced that kind of phase when you ask someone those kind of questions. So how did you go about it?
Yeah, how I, went about the, okay. To be fair, when people walk up to me and ask me these kind of questions, I tell them that, see, what I'm going to tell you now is going to sound like inspire to aspire. But I promise you, that is the truth. Like, there's no secret formula. Everybody has to do, like, every time everybody's like, consistency, be consistent, offer value, do this, do that. And then everybody just starts to feel like, offer value. Okay, how did you start? Well, you started making carousels. Okay, off to make carousels, and they just go ahead and start making carousels. Or like, you say something like, I started writing on Medium, and they're like, yo, that's where we're going. So it's just weird when you explain to people like how you started on your story, they get inspired at that time. But like the what do you want? Because human beings want quick results. They're like, okay, this is a guaranteed way. Like, this is how she started, and look at where she is. So that means that definitely works. Let's go. Let's go and do that. Let's copy it. So it's just weird because you tell people, oh, this is how I started. This is what I did. But it's not just this. They don't listen to that part, like the second part. Though. When you tell them this is what I did, this is what I did. But like, this is what went on behind the scenes. Sleepless nights. I had to be consistent. I had to do this. I had to do this. I had to do that. They don't take that part. They just take the other part. Like, aha, that's the secret formula. Let's go and let's go do it. So it's just weird. I tell them all the time, but like yo, if you don't want to listen, I don't know.
All right. So you mentioned the story school, and being someone who on your Instagram or your social media, I see blogger and storyteller, and I became curious because if you're a blogger, you should tell stories, whatever it is you do. But then, let me just tell you the truth. I've seen a lot of bloggers who don't have stories. All they have is pictures, All they have is flashy stuff, flashy things. There's really nothing, the audience can connect to what you're doing. Yes, you're a blogger, you take amazing pictures, your lifestyle and everything. But at the same time, be able to carry people along on a journey where they can understand that, okay, this is where this person started from. This is where this person is going to. And then we are trying to follow the person to get to that place. But then majority of bloggers I see today don't do that. And I think I've seen you to be an exception, and that is really amazing. So if you could talk about how you were able to arrive at that, being able to balance, the lifestyle part and the storytelling, because to be honest, in the way things are going on right now, it's a very parallel line. But then it gets to a point where they need to touch. People think they can't touch, but they need to touch. Because you're doing lifestyle doesn't mean you can't tell stories. So how were you able to navigate that part?
Okay, so I stated distinctively, blogger and storyteller, because like you said, I don't want to be that blogger that is, just pretty pictures, presets, your Lightroom game is on, 100 and all of that. I take blogging as, I'm not really interested if a lot of people, I wouldn't say like I want a lot of people. I mean, I want them. Why am I stuttering? I wouldn't say that is a big deal to me. If people like the numbers, like, I want views, I want people, I want connections, I want community, I want people to know me, like, see me on the internet and feel like they know me one-on-one, right? Yeah. So I see blogging as documenting a journey, even if whether it's your style journey or your journey as a student or your journey through life or like, all of those things. And so I feel like it's a string, and I define a story as a string of narrated thought that shows cause and effect. So like I implement that in my blogging, in my whatever thing I'm putting out, as a creative, I put that out. So I'm showing you, this is where I get stuff from, or this is how I style it. In the resultant, that effect is that this is what I will look, this is the outfit I have on, I got this piece from here, I got this piece from here, and then, or you randomly just take your followers through like maybe a day in your life or something, like let them just feel connected, let them feel, like they belong to a community. Yeah. And that way, I feel like that is one way that you can get fans, not just followers.
So the conversation continues, and if you'd like to listen to the full conversation on any of your preferred podcast apps, the links are available in the description below. Also, if you'd like to find out more about today's guests, about their works and about their life, you can also find the links in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and if you would consider subscribing to this YouTube channel, that would be really amazing. That would really, really help me. Thank you very much for the support, and I'll see you next Wednesday.